Not only are they getting more authoritarian, Justin Trudeau, and more dishonest, Gay Pete, they're also getting more sadistic. I mean, this one really is twisted. This is fake Native American Elizabeth Warren, who is a senator up in Massachusetts. She is a communist and a socialist who is all about public school, although, of course, she sent her kids to private school. She's also worth $67 million. I should write a children's book about the socialist worth the $67 million socialist. It sounds like something, doesn't it? Here she is, and she's freaking out because there are places where you can go, these pregnancy centers, that will sometimes convince you not to have an abortion, and she just loves dead babies.
Senator Warren also taking aim at pregnancy crisis centers.
Here in Massachusetts, these so-called crisis pregnancy centers outnumber genuine abortion clinics by 3 to 1.
She says women walk into the centers believing they'll get abortions. Instead, they try to talk women out of it. She calls it a bait and switch.
They are giving it over to people who wish them harm. And that has to stop. We need to put a stop to that in Massachusetts right now.
They are giving it over to people who wish them harm. That is one of the most sadistic, twisted statements I have ever heard. These people that work at these pregnancy resource centers, they're nonprofit organizations, and basically what they do is what was laid out right there. Women come in and they say, hey, I'm struggling financially, but I'm pregnant, or I have whatever it might be. My boyfriend abandoned me. My parents aren't happy about this. I'm 16 years old, whatever it might be. They offer free pregnancy services. They try to connect you with community members. They offer financial services, and they make sure that you're going to get the medicines that you need, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, they try to encourage people to go to term with the pregnancy and then maybe send the baby to adoption or whatever it might be, rather than abort the baby. That is good. That is good. It doesn't matter what your position on abortion is. It really doesn't matter whether you are completely pro-life or completely pro-choice. The idea that if there's a way that a woman wouldn't have to have an abortion and a nonprofit can do that and volunteers can help that woman make that decision, that is good. But it's a bait and switch. They go in there thinking that they're going to have an abortion. And next thing you know, they walk out and they haven't had an abortion. And then they have to have that freaking baby. This is modern child sacrifice with these people. They are completely out of control. And what's so twisted about their control is they really believe it. I mean, that woman, Elizabeth Warren, really believes that she's the good guy in this situation, that if that woman who goes there, who's 4 months pregnant, 18 weeks pregnant, whatever it might be, walks in there, and she goes in thinking she's going to have an abortion, and she's feeling some kicking, and we know that there's a heartbeat and all of those other things. And then she walks out, and that baby's not sucked out of her and dead. She thinks that that's bad. What else can you call that beyond child sacrifice? These people are absolutely out of control. But speaking of out of control, the man in charge of these Democrats is the elderly gentleman known as Joseph R. Biden. He was in the government for 47 years before becoming president of the United States, and apparently never got anything done in those 47 years, which is why he had to run as president. But he's trying to freak people out because he knows he's not doing a good job. So instead of addressing any of the problems, he's really trying to scare you about Republicans.
Ask yourself this question. What is a Republican platform going to this campaign? No, I'm being deadly earnest. I'm not trying to be political. Just a fact.
So he's being deadly earnest. What is the Republican platform? Well, I have a couple ideas here that could be related to the Republican platform. There are things that are happening right here in Florida, which is run by a Republican named Ron DeSantis. If you haven't heard of him, great guy. How about lowering gas prices? Would that be something that Republicans basically are into more than Democrats? Of course, the answer is yes. Democrats want gas prices to be high so that you'll be forced to go into debt to buy an electric car, even though it's unclear to them where electric cars are actually powered from. If they found that out, they might not be so into it. But they're telling us we have to, in essence, go through this rough transition off fossil fuels so we can get to AOC's Green New Deal. So I would say lowering gas prices. That's one thing Republicans want. Two, how about lowering inflation? You guys print a whole shit ton of money all the time. Then you blame Putin when costs go up and the rest of it, and the Dow Jones and everything else is crashing, all that stuff, the recession that we're in, although it hasn't been fully declared yet. I would say printing less money, that would be a Republican position at this point. Avoiding nuclear war, that seems like a good one. Any of you into nuclear war? Anyone? No, I got big nose there. Nobody wants a nuclear war, but we are in this war, not war, with Russia right now. Democrats have been pushing for a no-fly zone. Democrats are pushing to give them all sorts of money. Democrats are pushing to give them all sorts of weapons. At some point, when the guy who the whole world has turned against realizes that he has troops on every side of him and we're just funding this war, even though we're not in a war, something like that, he might go, oh, I've got a nuke and I'm kind of pissed. So I would say not getting into nuclear war would be a good one. How about having a border and wanting to reduce fentanyl from infecting all of our streets and our cities? A border would be good. You guys know that basically since Biden has taken over, the southern border is basically, it's not a border. You want to come to America, walk right in, although you can't come in from Canada by plane if Justin Trudeau has anything to do about it. How about, this is the fifth one, I'm just going through a whole bunch here. How about teaching kids not to hate each other by race? That is very much a Democrat policy at this point. You guys have gone full woke. You love critical race theory, which is racism. It's just a repackaged racism. So how about not that? That would be good. I got another one for you. How about not sexualizing children? I thought that one was pretty obvious, but you guys are all into it, right? You want public school teachers and other people other than the kids' parents to be able to have private conversations with kids about sex and gender identity and sexuality and a whole bunch of stuff and then hide it from parents. You're a bunch of weirdo freaks. How about Republicans just aren't into that? That would be pretty good. How about, this is good as long as we're talking about the school one, how about permitting kids to go to school? That's pretty good. We may not like what's going on in school, but generally sending kids to school and not having to wear pointless masks on their faces for a disease that's basically gone, that basically was proven that the masks don't work in the first place and the vaccines were unnecessary for kids, et cetera, et cetera. How about that? That's more of a Republican principle than a Democrat principle. And then finally, I would say, how about letting people say and believe what they want online, right? Because you guys love big tech censorship, right? This administration, we know for a fact that this administration, they've admitted it several times, they actually go ahead and flag posts for Facebook so Facebook can take things down. It's as close as you can get to a direct violation of the First Amendment without maybe completely technically tripping over that line. So I would say those are all Republican principles at this point. It doesn't mean the Republicans are great. It doesn't mean they always live up to those principles, but it's a hell of a lot better than what the Democrats are doing. So do not believe Joe Biden when he says that.